Hi friends, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I am doing well myself. My name is Wanyiha Jean Dutz, and I am glad to be back here. It's a beautiful Sunday day. It's very gray and rainy. A perfect day for staying indoors. And I was actually on my way out. I was thinking to just go out there and spend some time by myself because the guys are on like their second action movie, and I was like, no. In this journey, you will obviously learn. God may take you through so many places and through so many teachers that you may learn. And some it will feel like a mistake, yeah, where you venture to get knowledge. I have made quite a few mistakes myself, so I I try not to judge when things happen, but I do know that some people take it too far, and whenever you do something with an evil intention, God will obviously correct you. So when God is doing something or separating you from some people, it's for both your benefits, for them and for you too, because God is God of all of us. And sometimes if he knows that a friend may interfere with you, or just a foe, somebody who does not have your best interest at heart, he will alert you just so that you can avoid them, or pray to get this thing or the sting of this thing out. Sometimes you may even experience some of the darts that's thrown at you. You may feel it, you may feel the attack, you may experience it, but depending on what you know, you have better experience for fighting or for dealing with it. Ultimately, God is the one who fights for us, yeah? But we have to come into agreement with him, like I always say. There's so many enemies and so many weapons fashioned against you, but God does not want this thing to defeat you. He does not want anything that will interfere with your purpose, because he knows why he put you on this world, and it's to achieve certain things for him, you know, and not just for him, but for the people he sent you to help out. And sometimes, like I say, like I give an example of how God was calling Jacob like a little worm, you know, somebody who is so weak and defenseless, especially as the years go by. But God is assuring us throughout our years that he is for us, you know, he's fighting for us. And anybody who rises as an enemy for us, coming to interfere with our purpose, our destiny, he has to be taken out. Because sometimes when you're playing with Wanyiha, you're playing with her destiny, you're playing with her children, her grandchildren, yeah? You want to derail them. And the people who come before me, and even I, have paid a certain price, yeah, to just have this issue corrected. So God will not have you interfering. Just like he says, affliction will not rise, will not arise twice, and especially not from you, because you also have a great destiny. You have a greater purpose, you know. So he wants you to reach your purpose. So when you act as an enemy, he will have to separate you. And sometimes it may hurt because you're not listening. You know that he has shown you time and time again that this thing is not for you, but you keep wanting to reach it. So anything that is trickery, anything that is evil, every time that you're talking about a person, to come into agreement with someone else, to just have this person destroyed or this person tricked out of their destiny, God might have to separate you, and sometimes it will hurt, you know. So ideally we should be able to live very well as people, especially if we knew what our purpose in this world is. But sometimes we don't know, and that is why we have our wires so crossed so many times, yeah. But when you find that God is like showing you that this is not for you, you know, you may have come through it, and sometimes you didn't come through to it the right way, you know, or in his way. And sometimes people are like, okay, so if this is not meant for me, why did I come across it? I will explain. This thing is in the scripture. It's in the Bible. Yes, sometimes you'll fall into places and you will think, okay, so perhaps this is my destiny. But God is just using that situation to help you and to help the other person, yeah? So when the time comes for for God's judgment to take place over a certain situation, and you don't accept the result, sometimes it gets so bad. Yeah, so I will go into scripture, and I just hope this is helping somebody. There's somebody who commented, I think it's a new person. They comment, I forget the name, but they commented and said, what happens when you don't have a trusted person to translate your dreams, or you can share your dreams with? And I said that the journey to understanding your dreams, the process to understanding your dreams is a whole journey. And just like I always say, God will send somebody to make you aware, first of all, that dreams actually matter. It's not just sleeping, seeing things, and then waking up and moving on. And sometimes you may even have a dream, even if you're new to it, you will have a dream that will stay in your mind and in your heart, and you'll find yourself meditating and thinking about it, perhaps even sharing with somebody. Like, this is not usual. So you always know when it's more than usual, it's more than a kawaida thing, and that is when you start now seeking knowledge. And if you come to a place like YouTube, you'll find that God is directing you towards some people who will cause you awareness, and others who will actually teach you. And that is why I referred Minister Kevin E. Ewing on YouTube, yeah? Especially if you go to the very first videos that he used to teach on. When I went to Canada, and it was like 7 years of dreaming and seeing signs and wonders, and directions through dreams and through different circumstances, God let me meet Kevin on YouTube, and it was about the time he was starting, yeah? So Kevin Ewing, I saw his first video and I didn't even like it, so I just closed it. And then later I felt compelled to go to him and just understand more about the dreams I was having in that period. And I was having lots of dreams because God wanted me to understand something, and I could not afford to delay, because it was in that period that I was to understand what my journey had been about, what even my delay had been about, So it was very vital that in that 1 year that I was in Canada, that I was supposed to learn everything that I was to learn. I actually came to realize that everything that had happened, even my son's X-ray showing that there's a problem, so that we don't apply for US visas then, was actually God's way of making sure that we went to that land of Canada, St. John's, yeah? So God will eventually show you or reveal to you why certain things had to happen. And I can tell you, in the first months that I was there, like in the first 6 months, I saw so many things, both in dreams and visions, yeah? And even physically, just God telling me or compelling me to observe something, yeah, until it came to my understanding. And I was a mess at that time, trying to explain to my family back home, my friends. And I do understand that question, yeah, because sometimes you may even share something, and the way your friend reacts, you actually understand that they do not have that. They're not the ones to show you, or they do not even have the knowledge or the understanding. And sometimes, like when you go abroad, you're trying to share with something difficult with people back home. I'm sorry. And they're like, why don't you just focus on being abroad? But you don't understand that it's a journey. Just like it took so long for us to have the visas, God wanted for us to understand, or for me to understand, why was there a delay, And perhaps if he allows me, one day I will talk to you about what kind of a delay it was and why, why I had to be delayed. I still don't have 100% clarity, but I do know that there are things he did to just show me. So I'm going to read from Joshua 9. So this is a scripture about Joshua being tricked by the Gibeonites. They wanted to join camp with them, but they were not the children of God. They were not the chosen ones who were going to make the journey to Canaan, yeah? And so they decided to trick him, because they were the tribes that were watching these people go through a journey, and they would see that God was with them. They had won so many wars, And so they were like, since we are not the children, the chosen ones in this tribe, we'll trick this guy so we can join camp. And when they tricked them, when they came to them, because they used a trick, yeah, that I will read about, Joshua later realized too late, I messed up because I didn't ask God first if these people can join us. Because how do you, even as a leader, allow some people to join camp? Yeah. So the mistake that Joshua did was that he was compelled to help these people. He was moved by compassion or empathy, but he did not check with God if these people can join. And let me tell you, as a people, sometimes we make mistakes of taking along people who are not for us and with us. Yeah, they're coming along so they can save themselves, but they're moving away from their path. And as a people in authority, we allow it, not knowing that God would not approve of this. I did a video 6 months ago, and I was talking about the people you meet on the journey, and hoping that you will find favor with them. But should you not, it means that you're not meant to be there. And I said, like, some people are given the authority to be like gatekeepers for like us moms. Yeah, we are like gatekeepers in our families. There are people we allow and it destroys our families, so we have to stay in prayer so that God will show us how to escape some things. Yeah, because at the same time, you cannot be cruel to people, taking them out of your life. And sometimes you just sense some negativity, kumbe it's devil's trick, you know. And sometimes we prevent people to join us who are for us, who come as, you know, to benefit us. But because of the way they are looking, we are like, apana, these are not the kind of people I want in our families. And you can imagine, for me, this is the time my kids are grown. Yeah, grown up now. Yeah, soon they will be bringing wives. We can only pray that God goes ahead, so that whoever they meet and decide that this is the one I marry, will be perfect for the purpose that they are called in this family for. You understand? I tell you, you don't get the people you want, you would choose. You get the people who are right for the purposes of the generations ahead, you know. So we are going to read Joshua 9. The title is the Gibeonites deceive Israel. Now all the kings west of the river Jordan heard about what happened. These were the kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, who lived in the hill country in the western foothills and along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, as far north as the Lebanon mountains. These kings combined armies to fight as one against Joshua and the Israelites. But when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to deception to save themselves. They sent ambassadors to Joshua, loading their donkeys with weathered saddlebags and old patched wineskins. They put on worn-out patched sandals and ragged clothes, and the bread they took with them was dry and moldy. When they arrived at the camp of Israel at Gilgal, they told Joshua and the men of Israel, "We have come from a distant land to ask you to make a peace treaty with us." The Israelites replied to the Hivites, "How do we know you don't live nearby? For if you do, we cannot make a treaty with you." They replied, "We are your servants." "But who are you?" Joshua demanded. "Where do you come from?" They answered, "Your servants have come from a very distant country. We have heard of the might of the Lord your God and of all he did in Egypt. We have also heard what he did to the two Amorite kings east of the river Jordan, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth. So our elders and all our people instructed us, take supplies for a long journey, go and meet with the people of Israel and tell them, we are your servants, please make a treaty with us. This bread was hot from the ovens when we left our homes, but now, as you can see, it is dry and moldy. These wineskins were new when we filled them, but now they are old and split open. And our clothing and sandals are worn out from our very long journey. So the Israelites examined their food, but they did not consult the Lord. Then Joshua made a peace treaty with them and guaranteed their safety, and the leaders of the community ratified their agreement with a blinding oath. 3 days after making the treaty, they learned that these people actually lived nearby. The Israelites set out at once to investigate and reached their towns in 3 days. The names of these towns were Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack the towns, for the Israelite leaders had made a vow to them in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. So the vow was binding. They could not harm them. And yet they had signed the treaty, or agreed, that they would let them join camp. But this was not the will of God, because it was a trick. So the people of Israel grumbled against their leaders because of the treaty. But the leaders replied, "Since we have sworn an oath in the presence of the Lord, the God of Israel, we cannot touch them. This is what we must do. We must let them leave, for divine anger would come upon us if we broke our oath. Let them leave." So they made them wood cutters and water carriers for the entire community, as the Israelite leaders directed. Joshua called together the Gibeonites and said, "Why did you lie to us? Why did you say that you live in a distant land when you live right here among us? May you be cursed. From now on, you will always be servants who cut wood and carry water for the house of my God." They replied, "We did it because we, your servants, were clearly told that the Lord your God commanded his servant Moses to give you this entire land and to destroy all the people living in it. So we feared greatly for our lives because of you. That is why we have done this. Now we are at your mercy. Do to us whatever you think is right." So Joshua did not allow the people of Israel to kill them. But that day he made the Gibeonites the woodcutters and water carriers for the community of Israel and for the altar of the Lord, wherever they would choose to build. And that is what they do to this day. They became servants to the Israelites. Now you do see that sometimes we get into situations that we cannot get ourselves out of. We meet people and we go along with them, doing life with them as if God allowed it. Yeah, we do not ask. We do not, we do not have wisdom from God on how we should live with these people. And sometimes along the way, God will reveal who these people are. Not because he wants you to fight with them and call them names. "Oh, you are our enemies, you're this and that." No, it's because he has a different purpose. And the purpose he has for them and for you is not for you guys to be together. Because you will hinder each other from prosperity, God even prevents marriages this way, yeah? Because sometimes you'll see someone and think, "Oh, this is so good for me," yeah? But then God is like, no. And so many people have ended up losing their destiny this way. Instead of becoming the queen you should be, you become but a servant, a woodcutter, and a water carrier for a certain family because you chose without asking God. That is why we need a godly canopy over us. That is why we need God to hide us so much so that we do not get tricked in our way to our destiny. It's very possible to miss your purpose just because you went with the wrong crowd. And I'm asking you today, please do not seek out your own friends. And when you see God separating you from a person, please stop playing tricks just to join camp with them. This is not for you. But God has a better plan for you. And as far as dreams are concerned, when God reveals something, just go on your knees and pray and ask him. Some dreams even require you to go on a fast because you want to understand why it is showing up like this. And sometimes you just need to feed the spirit man so that you can understand better from the spiritual what's happening and how it's going to affect your physical, because God doesn't want you to mess up. He doesn't want you to miss your destiny, and that is why he's keen on revealing all this. So I'll see you on the next one. May God keep you. May God shine his face upon you and give you peace, because that is very important. I leave you with those words and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.